All right, so we are looking at transformations with coordinates, and you've done a lot of this in 1.1 and 1.2 already, and this whole page just summarizes all of the different transformations. And so, first of all, if we have this f of x minus h, f of x plus h, they tell you here that you shift the graph right or left, and they tell you what to do to the variable. So it's all explained there. And so if we go down to 1 and 2 down here, and I see f of x minus 7, that's when you go to the right 7. So the transformation is right 7, and you add 7 to the x coordinate. So we have a negative 2, add the 7, and you end up at 5, 5. On number 2, it's going to go to the left 4. Remember, when it's affecting x inside, it's the opposite direction. So f of x plus 4 is going to go left 4. And you need to subtract 4 from x. So you have a 3, take away 4, and you end up with negative 1, negative 4. Oops. Negative 1, negative 4. But then the structure changes up. Instead of being inside affecting x, it's on the outside. And f of x is a fancy name for y. So this you should read as y plus 3. You should read this as y minus 2. It kind of gives away what's going to happen. You're going to be adding 3 to y or subtracting 2 from y. And this causes a vertical shift up or down. And so if it's positive 3, it goes up 3. And you are going to add 3 to the y coordinate. And so we're going to take the y coordinate and add 3, and it becomes 1, 9. And here this should be thought of as y minus 2. And so you're going to be going down 2. So subtract 2 from y. So minus 6 minus an additional 2 is going to be a minus 8. And that's where that point goes. So those correspond up here with the y plus k, y minus k. If it's positive, it shifts up. If it's negative, it shifts down. If it's positive, you add, versus if it's negative, you subtract from y. So they tell you how each coordinate is affected and what the transformation is. And then we're going to go to these two. And when you have a negative on the outside, it's negating y. You're taking the opposite of y. And if you had a point that was at, say, 2, 3, and you take the opposite of y, it ends up being 2, negative 3. You get a reflection across the x-axis. So when you negate y's, you get reflections across the x-axis. And that's what's happening in number 5. Is you should see this as the opposite of y. And you need to know that that is a reflection in the x-axis. And that you are going to multiply y by negative 1. And so this y value is going to be times a negative 1, and you're going to end up at negative 3, negative 4. Now, when it's inside times the x, you are going to end up multiplying x by negative 1, but that causes a reflection in the y-axis. Again, if you have the point 2, 4, but you reflect it across the y-axis, it goes here. And the x value changed. The height didn't change, but the x value. So the x values get multiplied by negative 1. But this is a reflection in the y-axis. And you end up multiplying x by negative 1. So the x is times, times the negative 1. And you get negative 2, negative 3. And 7 and 8, you have a number out in front. So this should look like I'm taking 4 times y. I'm taking 1/2 times y. And that causes vertical stretches and shrinks. And when it's greater than 1, it's a stretch. And that's what they talk about here. If a is greater than 1, the graph stretches vertically, and you multiply y by a. If a is between 0 and 1, it says compresses. I'm going to use the word shrink. It shrinks vertically by a factor of 8. You still multiply y by a. And so when it's greater than 1, you have a vertical stretch and you need to state the factor by 4. And that means you multiply y by 4. So you're going to take this y times 4, and it's going to end up at negative 1, negative 16. When that a value is between 0 and 1, it's a vertical shrink. So you get a vertical shrink by 1/2. And that means you need to multiply y by 1/2. And so half of negative 6 is negative 3. And that's where that point goes. And so for the next one, when it's inside, it does opposite of what you think. This is 2/3. You have to flip it. And you have to multiply x by 3/2, and you get a horizontal stretch. By 3/2. You multiply x by 3/2. And if I take 2 times 3/2, the 2's can cancel, and you end up at 3, negative 4. And when it's 3 times x, you have to multiply by the reciprocal. It's 1/3, and you get the shrink. You get a horizontal shrink. By 1/3. So you multiply x by 1/3. And 1/3 times 6, 3 goes into 6 2 times, you get 2. And that's it.